Hi everybody, Tom Matuska here with the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company with Amber Ingalls, Brett Wingfield, Mandy Swart, Kirsten, our camera girl, and we are going to continue on with our Whitetail Thursday afternoons live, showing you whitetail finishing. And we started finishing last week, and I mean, this goes back, if you want to catch up, I mean, all the way to mounting this deer. We were just trying to figure out how many of these we've had. We probably are in 7 or 8 or so. So if you want to, learn how to mount a deer from scratch, come you're laughing at me. You always do that, make me nervous. Want to learn how to mount a deer, you can go way back and you can watch our Thursday lives, and we cover everything. Everything we show you, everything we do in the shop, we show you. And last week, we started on deer finishing. We started with grooming. We took the ear carding off. If you have ear carding, pull all the pins, brush them, get some loft in the hair, clean them up really, really nice. Amber showed you how to put a nictitating membrane in and how to fix any cracks where your skin has separated from your glass or your polycarbonate eye. Brett started on the nose, and I think he painted that, and you sealed the nose. And today you're probably going to show him how to put the texture back on.
Yep.
And a lot of these techniques, they're advanced techniques, but it's what's going to set you aside from your competition. You can do a deer head down and dirty that looks good at 20 feet on the wall, or you can put in the extras, point them out to your customers, and they will point them out to their friends, and pretty soon their friends are going to be bringing you deer. There's a lot of extras. You don't have to do the nictitating membrane. You don't have to do the texture in the nose. You don't have to do a septum. You don't have to do a caruncle. You don't have to, there's a whole lot of things that aren't necessary, but you'll have a way more impressive product if you do them accurately and natural. So, what are we, anything that you need to tell us about? No, not yet.
Just tune in every Thursday, 4:30 Central Time we're doing it. You can always catch our old videos on our Facebook page. You do want to stay tuned to the very end because we will have a giveaway, and we've changed our giveaways now where we have a Sharpen Air, an Easy Nose set, Dandy Noser, and then a tape measure. You get your choice to win, or you get to pick one of those, but you have to be present to win. If you aren't present, it goes to somebody else who is watching live. So
and Crystal Miller, was that the name?
Yeah, last week she missed it.
Did not get the ears. John Blucci ended up getting them, right?
Yeah.
Got the ears and tape measure, maybe?
Yeah, so make sure you tune in to the very end and watch and get your chance to win that Sharpen Air, which is a great new product that will save you lots of money on your airbrush.
And John, let us know what you think of the new ears.
He's always watching.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Our faithful viewer. Okay, so I think we're going to start, and we want to start with noses.
Sure.
And you can start on. Is that a good place to start?
Now,
if you remember last time, Brett painted the nose, wiped it off on this one. Yep. Painted the nose with a flesh, wiped it off, and that outlined all of these segments, all those little nodules. Then you sealed it.
Yep.
And now you're going to show them how to do the texture.
Yep, we're going to do a little bit of texture. We're going to use Modge Podge to do our texture with, and a little Easy Noser. There's lots of different ways to do it, but we find this works really well. You can also use Liquitex, a new product that we carry. Really nice for doing your noses. I know a lot of people are doing that out there too. In the interest of time, we're going to show you how to do a few of them, and then we're going to do the cooking show trick and bring you to one that's already done. So we finished one this morning that will have all of the texture done and dry, so we don't have to have you committed to watching an hour's worth of texture. And my aging eyes, when I wear my contacts, I can wear our super cool little new magnifying glasses, but when I wear my glasses, I have to wear a visor. Don't laugh. I have to.
Holly's just now watching.
Oh, wonderful.
Hi, Holly.
I'm sure we'll hear. Okay, So if you look really close, the nose pad or rhinarium, the black surface of the nose of a whitetail, a mule deer, an elk, any of our hoofed animals have some sort of texture on them. This cast shows it really nice. This is a fresh cast, looks like a whitetail doe from Mike and Brian. Really, really good definition to the segments there. When we flesh this really nice and thin and stretch it over and allow it to dry, all that texture goes away. So we're gonna try and bring some life back to it. And to do that, we've last week painted it to accent all of the little separations, and now we're gonna go in with this little easy nose tool, and I'm just gonna rebuild that texture just like that. I'm just doing it here so it shows up for you. But we're gonna go over the whole surface of the nose and rebuild that texture. So I'm gonna do a few. Kirsten, you may have to get pretty close. Here and here. The more full you build these, the more I would keep them separated to start. Once you've done this for a little while, this process gets pretty kind of natural for you, and you can go from one spot to the next. This is creepy close.
Sorry about that.
So you can see what we're doing here. We're just following the roadmap that we've kind of outlined here. Now this nose, we showed you last week, is pretty rough. Lots of scarring and some damage that we're gonna have to repair. If you were to come in here and, like on this nose, it's kind of hard to see in some areas where the separation is. You can make this up using kind of the pattern that you've already got established. So we would go in and go through this whole thing just like this. As you work your way over the nose, the further down you get, gravity will start working against you and they'll want to run. So it's nicest if you can do this in segments. Get these started and then give it a minute and let them set up, and then come back and do the ones right in between. We've got just like this. What you don't want is to start this and not complete it, because it'll look like you've got little mosquito bites on the end of the nose.
So are you using straight Modge Podge?
Yes, this is Modge Podge Gloss.
Would you ever use the matte or no? Would it work the same?
I think it would work the same. I don't know any reason why you wouldn't. Just happens to be gloss that's in here. It flows nice and works pretty good, but I don't know any reason that the matte wouldn't work for you. So in this case, we would go over the entire surface of the nose and allow it to dry, and that's the most important part. Right now it's going on white. It will clarify as it dries. And Kirsten, if you want to go to this deer, you can see on this one, we've gone through and done all of that earlier today. They're dry, and now we can paint it.
That easy noser has a really nice small tip, so it allows you to kind of have really good control.
It does.
A lot of people do it with brushes,
Yep. Yep.
small brushes and stuff, but this, it seems like you have more control, don't you think?
Yep, I
Can you
certainly
leave it in
do.
there, it won't dry out, and you can just reuse.
You know what I do, and I think everybody's got a different method. Some people are really good at taking the cap off and cleaning it every time. I'll take a Euro pin and stick it in there, and that seems to cap it off good enough for me to get to it next time. This does come in different sizes. I believe there are 2 different sizes of the tip.
We have four
Four.
different sizes.
Can't you get extra tips?
I think that one's
Yeah.
number
4
2,
different
isn't
sizes
it?
in the straight
Yep,
tip, and then
yep,
our
I think
easy
it is.
nose comes in with the bent tips.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the easy
Yep.
nose is bent texture, nose
Yeah.
texture system is straight like that.
Yep.
Jason says, why would you not tint the Podge?
You certainly could. We chose not to. I'm going to put all of the color on with an airbrush. But there's 1,000 different ways to do this, and if tinting it works for you, you could certainly add some flesh to it. You could even add some dark. We've got a nice contrast already showing here, so I'm not gonna do anything to tint it, but you certainly could. There's no reason why you couldn't. You can do that with your, again, with an elk that'll have bigger segments. A mule deer will have smaller segments. Just look at your reference. Depending upon whether the deer is alert or if he's really tired and sleepy, you'll see these more. It'll be very slick surface if the deer is relaxed and content, to a very textured surface as he gets more and more alert, and glossy too. We'll gloss them later. But I think right now we'll put some paint on it because we've got a lot to cover. We're gonna try and finish this thing today, aren't we? So feeling the pressure.
Customer's gonna be deceased by the time he gets to your head.
No. Okay. And you can go about this many different ways. You can see from your reference, the surface of the nose is not black. It's very common for people to paint this a really black color and walk away from it. I'm going to do just a little bit. We had painted the interior of it with flesh, and I'm just going to touch up the interior of the nose. One quick shot to even that out. And one real quick in here with some natural flesh. And then I'm going to move on to a couple other colors. I'm just going to soften that just a little bit on the top because I don't see a lot of separation in the upper surface from our reference pictures. So I'm just going to soften that separation. A little bit down here on the bottom lip. And then swap color real quick.
Mark Barber says hello from somewhere in a tree in North Carolina. Are you in a
Nice.
tree because of the hurricane? Or are you in a tree hunting, I hope? Incidentally, I think, are we under a tornado warning
I
right
think
now?
so, yeah. I think we are.
All day.
How much rain have we got here?
Oh, man.
A lot.
Upwards of a foot.
A lot. Did you wear your ruby slipper Crocs?
I can walk in water about 3/4 of an
Yeah.
inch. Comes in 3-year bowls.
Now I'm going to go to just a touch of a dark brown. This is just dark brown. I'm going to thin it really good.
Tony
And,
Panazzo is watching.
oh my goodness,
Ricky's
Tony
watching. You
from...
better do a good job.
Oh, man. You did this to me last time when Mark was watching. So I'm going to give this just a touch of dark brown over the surface, lightly, like that. And I'm going to do one thing real fast that kind of helps. We painted that flesh in the interior of the nose, and so now, to keep me from getting a whole bunch of overspray in the interior, I'm going to take this bag, just like we do when we mount the deer. I'm going to tuck it back in there real fast, just to about here. Kirsten, if you can look, I'm going to tuck it to about this spot right there. And that's going to leave everything on the inside flesh. And then I'm going to cut it off real quick, maybe. That. Going to do the same on the other side. And the reason I'm going to do this is we don't want to get any of this dark on that nice fleshy septum and all of the the epoxy work that we did in flesh, in theory, we shouldn't have any finish work to the interior of this nose because of all the care that we took earlier on in the process when we were mounting this. We thinned the skin really good. We colored the epoxy. The septum is all pre-colored. So it works really well. If you take just a second to do this, you can save all of that work that you did earlier. And now with my dark brown, I'm gonna darken the skin right in the lower portion of the nostril and in the back. Like so. And I'm going to spray from an angle to preserve the flesh in the cracks. Got a little area here to fix up, little cosmetics right through here. Oops. Okay. And now I'm going to switch out and go to that Yak's nose color. Go faster.
So we can give some shout outs watching. So again, you're with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and we are live every Thursday at 4:30. Let us know that you're watching, where you're watching from, because we love to hear it. We have Jared from Michigan. You guys are great. Jig and Jim says hello. John Barber from Texas. Brian Turpett, hello. Pat Reed from Kansas. David Jacobs, excited to be back. Matt Davis from Illinois. Don Swingle from Idaho. Travis Miller from Buckeye State. We have Moose Creek Taxidermy from Georgia. Kimberly from Alabama.
Holy cow.
Jeff Hartwig is watching.
Die, Jeffrey.
Let's see, who else?
Is it Brazil in
We got
there?
Brazil. I can't say your name, but we got a Brazilian watching.
Brazil?
North Carolina, that was Mark in the tree stand. Lots of people watching. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And again, remember to stay tuned to the very end. We'll have a giveaway, and one of the things you could possibly win is a shark in air, and you must be live to get it.
Okay, Kirsten.
What color brown are you using?
Right now, this is Yak's Nose Gray. I switched from the dark brown, which I had done some of the interior and over the top and the light dust over the surface. And now this Yak's Nose Gray, I'm gonna spray across. And because we have texture here, it's gonna build up on the surface and not down in that nice little, in those cracks that we got that flesh color into. I'm just going from an angle. You can actually turn your airbrush way down, and if you wanted to, you can come in and individually color these segments like this. And I'm going to do that right on the lower lip. Like so. And that's pretty much it for the nose color. The most important part now, one more dust over the surface. The most important part now is to get the paint out of the hair. And because this is lacquer-based paint, it's very brittle. And if you scrub the hair, it'll come right out. Like so. We did that. We quick tucked some material in there. Now we're gonna pull that all out, maybe. Huh.
You have David Jacobs from the New Zealand Taxidermy Association watching.
Oh wow, New Zealand.
John Black from Ohio.
Okay,
David from
now,
Ohio.
Kirsten, if you can get really close here.
Jeremy Blum from Pennsylvania. Kent from Zinc. Where are all my Iowa people?
Now, by tucking that right here, by tucking that in, you can see we've got a nice separation, a nice line between the dark and the flesh. And I'm just going to come in here and get the paint out of the hair, like so. And there you have a pretty respectable commercial nose. You competition guys, you're going to want to do this times 10. Everything a little closer and a little tighter. But now, I think Amber's going to show you an eye. There you go. Yeah.
Are you gonna gloss?
We have one more
I
question.
might, oh,
Danny says rubbing borax over the hair cleans it very well too.
Yes.
Any reasoning for not doing that?
I don't think I need to. I don't have a whole bunch, but you certainly can. I've actually learned that trick or heard that trick recently. That's not something that I've done a lot of, but I believe it would work. These little scrubber brushes seem to work pretty well for us. But if that's in your playbook, I would definitely do it at this time. And yeah, Amber mentioned gloss. We would shoot this with a gloss. I don't have any eye protect on the eyes right now, but you could definitely gloss it up. Whew, done. Okay, go.
All right, so we went ahead and this one, the eye has been covered with some eye protect, so we can go ahead and airbrush this and not have to worry about having any of the paint to clean off of the glass eye after we're all done. It's a nice way of doing it. I know a lot of taxidermists that don't use eye protect and they just simply scrape it off of their glass eye afterwards. For any of you guys that are doing finish work on acrylic eyes, we've gotten lots and lots of phone calls about scratched acrylic eyes. So note that you can't be using a scalpel on your nice acrylic eyes, so
What's
just be
the difference
careful.
with eye protect and eye frisket? Besides they're both 2 ounces each. The price
I
difference.
don't know. What is the difference, Brett? I don't know if there really is.
The significant difference is Gary
Consistency?
Bowen's Eye Protect has a dye in it. And when I was in class, we had a student that did it on the teeth of his coyote. And Eye Protect has a green dye in it. And he pulled all the Eye Protect off of his teeth, and he had green teeth.
Green.
It's
So
liquidy, more liquidy than.
it
I
might
was gonna
be
say the
a-
consistency
Yep.
is a little bit different.
Yep. So the Eye Protect they're both a latex product, a molding latex. Eye Frisket is typically a little bit thicker, and we like it because it doesn't run quite so bad. It's a little bit easier to control.
Yeah, and kind of like with the coyote teeth, if you would get it down in the bottom crack of your eyelid when you would put it on, it sinks down in there, and then when you take it off, it kind of stays in it, and you'll leave a sharp green line. So you have
What
to
would
be
you
very
use-
careful when you put it on, not to make it run onto the eyelids.
What would you use for gloss on that nose?
We like to use a triple thick aerosol. There's several different things out there. A lot of people will just use gloss Modge Podge, and that works pretty well. But any of your gloss mediums, top coat gloss, any of that stuff.
Okay.
And gloss rather than the matte.
So I'm starting to go ahead and flesh this eye to begin with. I like to do that to just kind of get everything to show up and come all together. It makes everything, any kind of imperfection show up. So I did notice right here that there is kind of a large crack that's happening right there that's running out of the lacrimal crease. So that gives us a good opportunity to be able to fix it. I have the natural over there. No, this'll work. This'll work fine. So, I was hoping to not have to do this. So doing the eyes flesh first really does make a lot of the imperfections show up. So if you would happen to miss any of this in the finished work, you can go ahead and fix it at this time because it's a chemical reaction with this epoxy sculpt. So you do not need to let it air dry before you can go ahead and airbrush right over it. You want to be careful about using water and how much texture your epoxy sculpt has, as well as if you, when you're going to rub the paint out of the hair like he just did around the nose, you're going to want to be extra careful if you would put on any fresh epoxy sculpt, because this would still be malleable and you could wreck what you just got done doing. I'm using an improper tool right now because
There's
of...
a spatula there and a piece of brush. I don't know if I'll get- there's a spatula on the table.
Yeah, this one will be better. Better than the end of a scalpel. So we had a really harsh, sharp line coming there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of soften that up a little bit and hopefully just make it meld away. So when we go ahead and airbrush it again, you won't be able to see it. And then it also looks like in the back corner of the eye, it's doing something just a little funny. So this is a great time to catch your problems. Sometimes these little mistakes are hard to see against that dark brown skin and that gray skin that animals have. So as soon as you hit it with that flesh, it kind of works as a primer. It makes everything visible.
It's the top of the hour, which means it's time to announce our winner from last week. So remember, we're doing giveaways a little different this time, but we have 4 different bags, and each bag has something different in it, from a tape measure to a new sharpen air. What we picked the winner, you have to like and share and tag the video. So I think we only had 20 shares on the video last week, so it was kind of easy to pick from. Yeah, so make sure you share this video to have your chance to win. But it was Richard Hollins. You have 20 minutes to say you're watching, comment in to pick your bag at the end. 20 minutes. And if you don't, or somebody doesn't tag you, then we get to give it away to somebody else that's watching live for their chance to win that sharpen air. So 20 minutes, Richard Hollins.
Oh my gosh. No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I'm here and watching.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, stay tuned for, you got, at the very end, we're gonna let you pick your bag and then see what you win, and then we'll also let you know what's next week, and we'll do another giveaway next week. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
All right, so as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna go ahead and switch colors. That last color was natural flesh. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a cocoa brown. And that's just gonna kind of tone down our flesh just a little bit and make it look a little bit more natural instead of kind of so harsh and painted. And we're just gonna kind of go around the perimeter here, kind of where it runs into the hairline. We don't wanna cover up too much here in the front. They have that nice fleshy look that goes down and runs into their lacrimal crease, so be really careful about painting too heavily with the cocoa up in that area.
Hi,
The
Queenie.
nice thing is you can kind of
Hi,
test
Queenie.
it on the hair. Whenever you're getting to do any of this stuff, you could start spraying in the hair and then work your way to the area that you're going to be painting, because you can always rub it out of the hair. Okay? It's not very much, it's just a touch of it, just to kind of take the edge off. Okay? I'm gonna go ahead and switch, and we're gonna go to rich brown, and we're just gonna use this in a few spots just to kind of brighten up the front of the eye. They have a hint of rich brown coloration in the front. So I'm gonna turn it down because I wanna have good control over this. And again, with this, we're gonna kind of start down in here, and I'm gonna come up right underneath the flesh line that goes, and you can kind of see it over there. Brett's got some of the pictures on the board. So what we're looking to do is kind of come underneath where this flesh line is. We're going to kind of come underneath here and hit it with a little bit of rich, as well as kind of up on top, just to kind of brighten up that eye a little bit. You can see how it has a little bit more of that reddish brown. So we're going to come up above and down below that fleshy line that goes down into the lacrimal crease. And then sometimes I even hit a little bit on the back of the eye as well.
Danny wants to know where's the bomb Tom, and Rob says crack shopping. Which is very funny. But
Bomb.tom.
he had to leave us tonight to go deal with water issues.
Oh no.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
so he's helping with water issues. We've been getting a lot of rain in the last couple days.
We have another viewer from Brazil. That is awesome.
I think he's the same one.
I don't know.
Here.
Pretty cool.
And then also when you're doing this, if you kind of angle your brush away from that fleshy mark, so when I'm doing this, I'll kind of angle up. That way we're not getting the angle spray running into that. And then when I'm doing the bottom side, I'll kind of angle down, again, to kind of stay away from that. Once it gets filled in, then it's just kind of a pain. You'll have to kind of go back and get it back to that fleshy color. So I like to not have to take that step again. And then now I'm going to go to a dark brown, and we're going to finish up and kind of do the actual eyelid itself. Again, make sure that you have a really nice smooth action on your airbrush. And whenever doing this real detail kind of painting, if you put your hand on the animal and make a connection here between your two hands and the animal, there'll be less bumping around. I see people trying to spray and they're all, you know, and it just works better if you can make it one fluid piece, one fluid motion, and it'll help you have a steadier hand. So I like to start in the back corner of the eye. And you can start spraying on the eye first and then move to the back corner.
Jeez Louise, that rain is coming
I
down.
know, I'm a little worried.
And then we're going to kind of come right on up to the membrane and the carnacle area. You don't want to go too crazy with it. We don't want to make him look like he's got eyeliner. For customer pieces, we just go through and darken up that whole area. We don't really get into a lot of detail in the front carnacle area for coloration. But we were talking, I think I'm running out of air.
Oh,
Is it not turned
right
on?
on top.
Steve Nolan, I would love to learn taxidermy. You can. We actually teach a 9-week course that's Northwest Iowa School of Taxidermy. And you can call us 1-800-488-3256. And we also offer some specialty 2-week courses coming up in springtime here. But I believe there's a couple openings for our winter course starting in January. So go ahead and give us a call, talk to Vicki or Tom, and they will help you start your career.
What's that going on that?
I know Norway. Norway. Old Christian Martin.
Very cool.
Now I'm just kind of softening that line just a little bit on the bottom of the eyelid. We're going to kind of check it out. It looks like it's really dark, and so when you get going, if you're ever unsure of what you're all doing with your colors, don't be afraid to stop and rub off some of that hair. You could do this with a towel too. I like this tool for this part. It's nice. It can really get those hairs to stand up.
Brush you're using.
That's why I had it bent the other day. Tom was like, why is it bent? And That's why, so I can get in there with the longer bristles and not have to worry about the metal scraping. So whenever you see these in the shop, I usually have them bent over. And then just kind of nice and easy work your way up. When it gets way up there, I'd be real careful because you don't want to scrape off the paint and off of some of that plain skin. Like I just did. I'm gonna have to touch that up here real quick. I've got that fresh epoxy on there. All right. See if I can go ahead and fix this up here real quick. Mandy, were you planning on talking about some of the driftwoods and stuff like that that we had?
We do just have some
Got one
out.
going?
Brett, you can help me.
That would be a good time so I can have a few minutes to fix my mistakes.
Back here. So we actually just had out of the mold a couple. These are, we have weathered and then the cedar look. Artificial, Brett's in love with our artificial driftwood. Tell me the perks of using artificial rather than, because they're a little more expensive than your tumbled cedar, but why would you say go with them?
A couple reasons. One, they're much lighter. Any of the attachments that we do for our fish are typically, we drill through it, we'll attach to the backside. The versatility of the artificial driftwood it's really cool because we can splice them together, we can cut them, if we've got a couple of crappies that we want to do on one piece, we can add to them like this. We may turn this, these are two of the same, but if we were to use one of the others, they splice together really nicely. They're lightweight, and the nice thing for them is they're predictable. We kind of know what pieces fit what size fish, and with the real driftwood, as nice as it is, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you order a piece and it may not be exactly what you want for that fish.
You can say pick a piece with character, but we
Oh my
only pick so good. But so this piece is $26.95, and it's lightweight, easy to use. You can put it on your wall with one of your mounts. Your customers come in, they're going to know exactly what they're getting, which is nice. And you know exactly what you're paying for and going to get. You're not going to have to order again for getting the wrong one.
They're flat on the back, hanger goes on real easy. You don't have to worry about cutting it or it sitting level.
This is an exciting one. This is a painted one. The rocks are attached, everything's attached. Super lightweight, super duper lightweight. That's the RDW 103P. It's painted and it's $42.95.
Yep, and we like to add the rocks to our driftwood for our fish pieces. It just adds a lot of character. It gives a little more surface area. You can use it either up or you can use it on the
Here's
downside.
another example, yeah.
That's a
Tabletop
really cool one.
or
That's one of my favorites.
you have a walleye out in the showroom with it on.
Yeah, we do. We've used it just like this. Also works this way, and of course it'll work that way too. So
This,
super cool piece.
we have 2 new wall scenes coming out for you guys. Talk about jumping on the wall scene bandwagon, but this is our new piece. This is just wash. So this is actually $48 for this piece right here. It's just dipped, it's easy, it still has character depth, it shows, you'll paint up the rocks a little bit. Really good deal. Over here, if you can see on this, with this bear, Amber painted it up real nice and added some pine boughs to it. And that right there, you're looking at $67. So it's a nice addition to your wall mounts.
Easy, they attach nice, adds some character and gives a really nice look to some of your traditional wall mounts.
And then the next one that we have that just came out, so these actually have been done in the last week. We pulled them out of production and they're online thanks to Kirsten. She put them on for you guys so you can now purchase them. This is the new turkey perch branch. It's got a great branch. It comes apart so you can, what? What do you want to know? It comes apart for easy shipping. We are selling it with moss. If you get close, you can kind of see this turkey branch has the, oh, got it. This turkey branch has the moss on it, where this one's just plain. We kind of looked at our competitors and what they're selling them for too, and we are under them, which is nice, but you're looking at $98 for that branch. And again, you know exactly what you're getting.
Doug Peters is asking, what's your brush and compressor combination you are using?
That is an Iwata custom micron. It's we often use an HPG. That's kind of our go-to. This is one we just had some detail work going on the fish, and this was set up. The compressor is a Pache compressor. They're nice and quiet, pretty easy to use in the shop, and we just dedicate that one to a paint cart. We've also got another compressor around the same thing where we can wheel it around and use it. Any of these Iwata brushes or any of the high quality brushes are perform very, very well for doing this type of game head work. Works out pretty well.
Tom Matuska says, those look awesome. Exceptional creative people in the design department. Good work, people. Aren't you supposed to be pushing water, cleaning water up, mister?
All right, and I think the last thing would be to go ahead and do ears. Now, a lot of times when we're doing this, we'll do the eyes and the ears together, but we kind of separated it up for doing this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray the inside of the ear. I like to start off with the flesh. A lot of people will choose to use buckskin tan, and that's another good option that a lot of people will use for the insides of the ears. But here we typically will do flesh first, and if you just spray inside, you'll end up with you'll paint all of the hair and not the actual skin, so you'll have to kind of sit there and move the hair out of the way in order to be able to airbrush in there. And you don't want to over paint inside the ears, otherwise you'll end up with getting this super harsh, glossy looking ear. So don't be spraying a ton of paint up in here, just you're just tinting it. And even if it looks like it's real bright on the hair, it's probably just because the hair is holding most of the color, not necessarily the skin. So before you 100% say, I'm done, I don't need any more flesh or pink on that, make sure you rub it off of the hair and just kind of get comfortable with what it all looks like. I do like to try and make sure you get all the way down inside by the eardrum area. When we mount these, we left the cartilage on, so it still has all of that detail down inside of there, and if you move the hair up out of the way, you can actually highlight all of those ridges that are down in the ear canal with a little bit of flesh.
Amber, did you spray it with sealer first?
I didn't. I've heard of people doing that, or you could spray it after with sealer too, either or. I usually do it after.
Yeah.
And then I do like to come through, I use the flesh. It's a little bit bright, so I am gonna come through with a little bit of cocoa to just tone it down just a touch. And then I can also get down inside by the bottom of the eardrum to accent just a little bit. And then that would be about it. Turn it down. And I'm just kind of going around those ridges just slightly and toning it down so that that flesh isn't so bright.
You left the cartilage on just the base of the ear.
Just the bottom. Yep, just on the very bottom. It comes off of all the rest. So right where the ridges of the ear canal stop is where we usually bring our cartilage down. So we'll work all the cartilage down, pushing it down with our thumb prior to mounting, and then go ahead and cut it off. So whatever is left of cartilage will actually tuck right down inside of your ear liner. And it's a good, easy way to keep all your definition down inside there. It's works really nice. And then it also plugs the bottom so you don't end up with glue. You know, I remember when people, you know, used to cut off the bottoms of the ears, and then you'd have glue, and then you'd have to try and reshape the bottom of the ear, and then just kind of carefully come in and get it out of all your hair again. Make sure not to scrape, and then go ahead and seal it with some kind of a sealer, like a matte or a base coat sealer, to help that so it doesn't scrape off of the ear over time. And then when you're all finished here, like with the eye, we can go ahead and pop off the eye protect. I usually start with some kind of an easy tool just to start it in the back. Go ahead and pull it off.
Wow. Works nice.
Yeah, as long as you're careful going around the edge, you shouldn't have a whole lot of cleaning left to do. I do like to go around the bottom with a thinned out, we have our thinned out triple thick. So we like to take triple thick, but it's way too thick for this application, but we'll thin it out, oh, I don't know, maybe 70-30. Yeah. And so it gets a pretty thin consistency. And even this is, might be, I don't know, even this feels a little bit thick. And then take a brush. Boy, I am all sorts of unprepared in here.
Oscar, that was eye frisket. Or no, eye protect was the one you pulled off.
Yes.
Eye protect off the eye.
Yep. It is awesome.
You can find it online. All the stuff we're talking about here today, even the brush she's using on her ears and eyes, you can find online at MatuskaTaxidermy.com or call us 1-800-488-3256.
Okay. I'll just take a little bit. I've got a real fine brush here, so we're not going to put on too much. You don't want to get it smeared way up on the eye, but you can go ahead and paint it over your carnacle, being very careful. Just kind of take a little bit of time for detail.
Did you use water to thin that?
Yes.
Water, Brent.
Do you ship to Iceland?
We ship all over.
And then if you can get your brush very carefully down in there, then your thinned out,
Water run.
it will just kind of run right down in that little crease. And then I'm also going to make sure I cover up the membrane. It is.
The lights are gonna go out.
Might be heading for the basement.
You might really get some.
I don't think I want to go to the basement.
So right now it's got a little bit of a bluish hue to it. As it dries, it'll dry nice and clear, and then it'll just really give it that good final touch of having a nice wet looking eye. And you can go through and do lots of different details. You could go through with the Modge Podge and your Easy Noser and put on all of your little dots onto the bottom eye. There's lots and lots and lots of detail that you could go to. But typically this is what we do for our customer deer.
Yeah, this would be a really nice commercial finish work. You can take finish work as far as you want to, as long as you've got good reference material with you. Let's look over here real quick. This is that gloss line that Amber shined up right through here, the nictitating membrane caruncle. Here's another, kind of shows you what we're looking at that's gloss. You can also see those little sebaceous glands. If you wanted to come back and rebuild those, you could. That's going to take a super high-powered visor. I look kind of funny in that one.
Kind of really still hand.
Yes. Yeah, so Clint, how many of those are there, and where do they start and stop on the eyelid? Let's get some of these deer guys to respond. But yeah, this is basically what we do with our commercial finish work. At the very end, we'll come in with a little bit of liquid gold. We like to rub down our antlers and do that quick. And this is just something that cleans them up nice, gives them a little bit of luster. The sheen goes down, but we would clean off any blood, hopefully prior to mounting, so that.
Just a softer, whiter brush most of the time. Use on the blood to.
Yep. It's nice and brittle, so it usually comes off easier without having to wash the antlers. Some people will actually wash antlers, and you'll wash all your color away, so be careful of doing that. But that wire brush does pretty good. And then at the end, we'll usually give it one more shot with the grooming, just to make sure that we've got everything. We like to use this. It says olive oil. It's not really oil based. We're not going to put a whole bunch of it on, but it gives a real nice soft.
It's our sheen spray, and we sell it in 2 ounce and 11.5 ounce. It comes in all of our cleaning kits as well.
Yep, gives just a nice soft sheen, and actually it's nice and fragrant. We'll do this right before a customer comes. If we have a little notice, picks up his deer, we'll clean them off, dust them off if they've been in the showroom for a while, and then just brush that through. Any of our little grooming brushes, we like to
Richard
make sure.
Hollins, I'm glad you're still watching because you're about ready to pick your bag, but it's called triple thick, and what they do is they actually have their own that they just thin down and added some water to it to get a, would you say 70-30?
Yeah.
So that is triple thick.
All right.
A couple of the new products we also have too are, this year you guys ask and we get it for you, but Liquitex, a lot of people like Liquitex. And then the Deco Art Clear Pouring Top Coat. Deco Art has a lot of good stuff. Another thing we have now is your stop rot. Stop that slipping. What else does it do? I don't know, stop rots. And we have Tech Bond Aerosol Activator. All the stuff that we talk about is online. Our catalog, you guys are with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company. We are out of catalogs, but I'm working hard into getting them into your hands. Winner, Richard Hollins, you get to pick somebody with a box. Let's see here. Kirsten has one. Kirsten, Brett, Amber, and I. Pick which one you want, and the rest will go in next week. So Richard Hollins, say a name. Kirsten, Mandy, Amber, Brett.
Richard,
Richard.
you there?
Richard.
While we're waiting for Richard, Timothy King is asking what form is that he was working on.
That is actually a form that we altered here. It's from our semi-upright. Sorry, it took me a second. That's one of our semi-uprights that we altered, just tipped the head up on, and then we did the pedestal back with it.
Richard picked Amber's back.
Amber, there
Empty
it
it
is.
out. So,
Drum roll.
Should we show him what he didn't get
yep,
first?
you got the dandy noser. So we will send that your way.
Yeah.
I had the easy nose set. Oh, and Brett had the sharpen air. So, for those of you that didn't get this, all these are going back in for next week's giveaway. Make sure you share. There were only 20 people that shared the video, so you have to share. It's right here, real easy. Do it right now.
Share
Hit the
button.
share.
Just
Hit
do
the share.
it.
Just do it. But share, you gotta share the video and we'll draw your name or whoever's name. You have to be present to win. Otherwise, it'll go to our awesome people that watch every week. So thanks for tuning in. Again, you're with Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company. We appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you next Thursday.
Yeah.